Hey guys, it's Dark Horse here with JustCasualHeroes.com. Um, and as you may know and be able to guess, of course, from the name, we're a site that's dedicated to players who would, I guess, be considered sort of hardcore casuals. Players who are only able to play in their spare time, who can't dedicate as much time to the game as maybe they would like to in an optimal situation, but who do want to learn and who are very serious about trying to get better. I believe there's a lot of players like that in Guild Wars 2, and we're trying to use this site to help encourage those players. So, one of the areas in the game that is least approachable, I think, at face value to new, not new players, but casual players or players who are not able to study the game as much and to research it as much and to play it as much and to practice it as much is structured PvP. Um, and that's not because the game type is necessarily that hard, but it's oftentimes because the game isn't that well explained, and you get into it and you jump into it the first time, and it is so fast paced. The combat is so fast paced, and you don't really know exactly what you're supposed to do. If you've gone through the newbie tutorial, you just face roll through that thing and you stand on the points and you res people and you stomp a couple guys, but it doesn't really prepare you for what you're going to encounter. Um, I think that the most important thing to know about structured PvP, um, first of all, is be familiar with your skills, with your skill bar. I'm not going to go into meta right now, but to be honest, a good place to start is somewhere close to a meta build. Just because it's builds that have been proven effective, you're not trying to reinvent the wheel, and that doesn't mean you can't flavor it up a little bit. On my Mesmer right now, I'm running Sword Pistol. Pistol offhand is not a part of the Mesmer meta, but I like it. I just enjoy it, and I run it. There are other things I could probably be more effective with, but it just adds color and flavor to what I'm doing, and I'm doing okay with it. And so I'm running Pistol offhand. So even more important than you having a build that's known to work, and I would encourage you to start there. Um, Learn about the maps themselves and specifically rotation. Um, this video is going to be about just general rotations. Rotations in Guild Wars 2 SPVP, what do they mean? And what can you be doing to best maximize your rotation? Take in mind that this is considering a newer player or a player who is at least newer to structured PvP, who is queuing in solo or maybe with another friend, but who is certainly not with a full party or a very coordinated party. This is, you're queuing into the game. How can you best be effective? So this is the basics about rotation, a little bit about the PvP game type as well, just sort of thrown in there. So what is rotation? Well, rotation is basically how you move throughout the map, from location to location, how you move. That is rotation. But what's more important about rotation is why. The why behind the rotation. Why am I moving here? Why am I moving there? When do I move here? When do I move there? So that is something that is totally confusing to a lot of newer players who are not familiar with the strategy of structured PvP. It's one thing to run around killing people, and you might even be good at killing people, but if you're killing people in the wrong place at the wrong time, you're not maximizing your effectiveness in the game. So just a couple of rules about rotations is, number one, typically, especially in the current meta, you do not want to just camp a point and stay there. That doesn't work. That's not good, and you should never do that. People will get angry because it's not the right thing to do. If you're camping on a point, the other team can outnumber you somewhere else. And at the end of the day, structured PvP in this game is much about a numbers game. If your numbers are not balanced, it's hard to win. So once the numbers are balanced, if I'm fighting in a 3v3, at that point coordination and skill begins to be an issue. Same if I'm in a 1v1 against someone else, then their skill versus my skill becomes an issue. But if there are situations where I'm sitting around at home while my team is fighting at the middle point, they could be outnumbered at the middle point because I'm sitting there at home. If the other team sends 5 to 1 point while I'm sitting at home, then that means my team cannot equal their numbers. The same would be true for any other splits. If I'm somewhere by myself, not engaged with any enemy, and my team could be outnumbered somewhere else. Now, there are times where if you've got control of a fight, that you can leave a fight and go capture an open point. But when you capture the point, you don't want to just park there. So that's the first thing, is don't park on a point not engaged with anyone. Sort of the second thing that I look for is the numbers matchups in general. In the bottom corner of your map, your mini map, it will show you where all of your teammates are, as well as any enemies that are engaged with your team. So it's a quick glance to count up the numbers for me. I'll look down and I will see, okay, my team is in a 3v3 at mid. If I look then at the health of my teammates and it looks fairly strong or fairly healthy, like it's either a standoff or close, I'm going to begin to roll out towards the middle point so that I can try to +1 the numbers at the midpoint. So I look and I take a quick inventory and I say, okay, let me go to mid to help +1 the fight so that we can win the fight. Now, there may be a situation where our team is in a 3v2 at mid and they're going down. In that case, I may look to see, okay, is there another fight on the map where our team then is in a 2v1 and I can go +1 to win that fight. Or I might see, okay, I'm not sure, it looks like we're going to lose at mid. If I go there, chances are by the time I get there, I'm going to be in a 3v1 situation or a 2v1 situation. It's not looking good. Maybe then I'll rotate and check the far point to see if the far point is available for a cap. And if it is, take the cap. But again, I'm going to look at the mini map and I'm going to use the mini map as a guide to where I'm going. Because again, remember, this assumes we're not in Vent, we're not in Mumble, we're not in any kind of voice chat. We're not able to know what the other team is doing. And if we stop and type in the map chat, a lot of times we're not going to get an answer. Nobody's paying attention to it. You have to use the mini map as a guide. So number 1, don't camp on a point. Number 2, always try to +1 any fight that you can +1. Reinforce a fight that looks close. If somebody's holding down a 2v1 at mid, but they're doing okay, they're alive, their health bar is high, and you've got time to get in there and even that fight out, go ahead and even that fight out, because if that player is holding that point by himself, then there's a good chance that you evening the numbers could effectively be close to +1ing, because you're able to come in unexpected and to take down an enemy that's engaged there. But if that player is losing a fight, there's no sense in you going in, getting smashed, and just giving them 5 points and putting you on respawn. So that's one thing. Another thing is fighting off point. Now, at times, someone's going to engage you off point, and they're going to restrict you, and you're going to have to deal with them. There's no way to run away. You have to fight them. But many times, if someone comes and attacks me in the middle of nowhere, I'm going to burn a cooldown. I'm going to try to get away from that fight and find somewhere where my teammates are. Because me 1v1ing someone off point, the best scenario that gets is I win, I get 5 points. I lose, however, they get 5 points. I go on respawn. That's not really the best usage of my time. The best usage of my time is to be fighting near a point with my teammates, or capturing an empty point by myself, not fighting a random person off point. Now there are exceptions, of course, to these rules, but if you follow them, it'll be a lot easier to try to get into structured PvP. And it's really simple. When you hold points as the score ticks up, typically if you can hold 2 points or have at least a 1 point advantage, whether it's a 1 cap to no caps or a 2 cap to 1 cap throughout the course of a game, you're likely to win. So the more you focus on fighting with your team, keeping points, and then if you are on home and you go to a mid fight and you notice that your home node has been decapped, go back, check it out after the fight's resolved, or if you get the fight in hand, go back and check it out. Try to keep, as often as possible, 1 more cap than the other team. Now there are going to be situations where that is going to change, and there are strategies that maybe differ on certain maps more than the others. This is meant to be just a baseline discussion about rotation. So use the minimap, count the numbers, see where you're best used. Look at the health bars of your team. If your team is getting wrecked in a huge fight, it may not be best for you to go in and try to +1 the fight just to get killed. If your team is really winning heavily in a fight, it may not be best for you to go and fight at that particular fight because your team already has it cleaned up. So then you may be best to go try to cap another point or to reinforce another fight. But what you don't want to do is just the knee-jerk reaction of just finding the first person you find on the map, smashing buttons, and fighting that one person. You might beat that person, but in so doing, you might imbalance the map and lose. Even though you're solo queuing in or not queuing in with a full team, PvP in Guild Wars 2 is very much a team game, and one person can definitely lose the game. I've seen it before. It can happen. So if you follow those general points, it'll at least give you a starting point that you can say, okay, I'm going somewhere I'm needed, and I'm doing something that's needed for my team. And that's where the satisfaction begins. Now in future videos, I'm going to go into each map, specifically the ranked maps, and do a specific video on each map, some of the strategies, some of the different things that you can do on those maps. But for now, rotation in general. Be where you're having the most value, the most impact. Be aware of where your teammates are and be aware of what their health is at. And that's a great place to start. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.